minute sequence. We will connect a little bit to the pelvic floor, but it's also a way of stretching into the lower back, into the hips, and starting to let go and relax a bit. So this can be challenging when there's so much going on in our lives. So these 15 minutes are just for you. You might have your baby next to you or close to you, or maybe you enjoy this practice on your own. So to start, we'll either have a bolster. If you have a yoga bolster, that's amazing. Otherwise, if you have a blanket, you can fold up the blanket and then fold it again, or a couple of cushions, but this is what we're going to sit on. So you'll sit back onto your heels and you'll take your bolster or your folded up blankets underneath your seat. So if this is quite close to the earth, so if it feels a little bit too uncomfortable in your knees or in your ankles, you'll prop yourself up on some more cushions. But once you find the seat, just start to rock forward and backwards. There should be absolutely no pain in the knees and the ankles. And the movement, it's the thigh bones moving in this rocking pulsation through the pelvis. And so as we actually sit on something, there's a close connection. We can actually feel the floor of the pelvis against our bolster or against our cushions. And so we'll just take a moment just to connect to the pelvic floor. So as we shift forward, we can feel the front of the pelvis, the pubic bone moving towards the earth. And as we shift back, we can feel or imagine the tailbone moving towards the earth or towards our bolster. And so we'll start to connect to the parts that's touching the bolster or our blankets. So as you shift forward, connect to the urinary tract, the front of the pelvis, and imagine the muscles engaging. As you shift back, the back of the pelvis will engage. So you might move very slowly, or you might move very fast. But every time you shift back, there's a connection to the back of the pelvic floor. Every time you shift forward, you squeeze and connect and release the front of the pelvis. So just having that awareness of rocking forward and backwards and connecting to the pelvic floor. And then find the middle, sitting bones pressing down, put your hands onto your abdomen, to your heart, and then connect to the middle part. This is part of the birth canal. So imagine or sense the pelvic floor, the vaginal muscles, and here we'll just have this gentle pulsations. Inhale, you feel expansive, relaxed. Exhaling, a sense of hugging in. So just for a couple of moments, just connecting to your roots, to your pelvic floor. There might not be any connection, you might sense a lot. But just becoming aware of your roots, feeling grounded, feeling stable. This you can do anytime, anywhere. Just allow the pelvic floor to relax and the breath to become back to your normal rhythm. We're going to stay seated, but we'll shift into a cross-legged position. So you can continue staying on your blanket, on your cushions, or you can sit onto the mat. So we want to sit cross-legged. This is again a movement in the hips, and we want to create space in the lower back. So if you feel quite tight, your ankles will cross. If you have a bit more movement, you'll bring your heels so they are aligned with the opposite knee. As you do that, you flex the feet a bit. That might make the knees move higher, but it just means that there's a bit more stability. Sit right on the sitting bone so you can move the flesh from underneath your sitting bone so you stay grounded. Lift through the chest, that openness across the collarbones. Imagine you shift to the front of the sitting bones. So some of us will enjoy staying here for a couple of breaths. Some of you might start to shift forward. So again, you have space in the front body. If you shift forward, press your hands or fingertips to the earth And feel the sitting bones pressing down either towards your cushion or towards the floor. Keep your chest extending. So keep creating space. You want to feel this probably in the lower back and maybe even towards your hips. If this is an easy shape for you, you can even come onto your forearms. So we will stay here for a couple of breaths, but just be mindful that while you are breastfeeding and even weeks after, your joints are still very spacious. We still have relaxing in the body, so we want to be mindful we're not hyperextending or stretching too far. Let's start to walk the hands back, sitting all the way up. Notice what leg is in front. Bend your knees towards each other. Hug your knees in. And we'll cross the legs the other way around. Again, just notice the position of the legs. So you have this nice big triangle space between your calf muscles, your inner thighs and your groins. Find stability through your hips, through your knees, through your ankles. Again, take a moment just to sit up, maybe having your arms behind you for stability. You can stay here, or if it's natural to shift onto the front of the sitting bones, you start to create that movement in the hips. Again, you can start to shift forward. Press down through the sitting bones, extending your heart forward. You can close your eyes, or if your baby's in front of you, you can gaze at your baby. Only if your body allows you to and it feels at ease to shift onto your forearms, you can choose to come onto your forearms. And as you stay here, start to release the jaw. Allow the tongue to relax. Notice if you're holding on to the breath. And if you are, just release the jaw and sigh out. Let's walk the hands back in. And just take a moment to stretch out the legs in front of us. So I'm going to rotate onto the mat just so you can see a little bit better. Again, finding a comfortable seat. We're going to bend the right knee and take the foot all the way across over our left leg. And again, a movement in the hip joint. We'll start to take the foot towards the outside of the left hip. So this should feel absolutely comfortable in your knees and in your ankles, but you find a stretch into the right hip. So if this is reasonably easy for you, you can bend your bottom knee as well. So this way you're starting to sit right between your heels. For some of us this is a bit challenging, so we'll sit on a block. So as long as the sitting bones are on the block and you feel stable, you can prop yourself up. Your knees are comfortable, your ankles are comfortable. So if you sit on a block, you'll stay sitting up nice and tall. If you're sitting on the floor and this is an easy shape in your body, again feel the thigh bones hugging in. And maybe once again you start to extend your chest forward. So here again you can start to pulsate the breath, especially at the front of the pelvic floor. You can have that sense of hugging the inner thighs together, even the front of the pelvic floor engaging, and then releasing. Just taking a couple of breaths, connecting to the front of the pelvis, releasing. Again, only if it's comfortable. You might even shift all the way forward. We'll change to the other side. So walk your hands in. If you're on a block, be really mindful that you keep your balance on the block. Otherwise, we'll uncross the legs. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Find both sitting bones grounded. And we'll bend the left knee, take the foot to the outside, and then the heel all the way around. So one side will probably feel very different from the other. Again, be aware that your ankle feels supported, the knees is comfortable. You can choose to bend the bottom knee. Again, maybe you sit on your blanket, maybe you sit on a couple of blocks. You have that stability through the hips, both sitting bones grounded. You find your variation sitting up straight or walking slightly forward. Perhaps a natural sensation of hugging into the front of the pelvis. Letting the face soften, even the eyes and the muscles of the forehead. And slowly come all the way up again. And very, very gently we'll uncross the legs once again. Stretch the legs out. Maybe circle the ankles and allowing the whole leg to just move and flow. So in a moment we'll come down to the floor again. If you have a block, which I will definitely recommend that you have, you'll use your block. Otherwise, once again, you're going to use a blanket and we'll kind of prop up the blanket as a little kind of block almost. If you have a block, you're going to lie down on the block. The block will lie right underneath your shoulder blades. So you'll rest your block kind of where your bra strap will be. So this is what you're going to lie on. Same thing if you are propping up onto a blanket. So we'll place a block on the floor. We're going to slowly lower down towards the mat until we find that the block is just near where your bra strap will be. You rest onto the block, the back of the head releases to the earth. You can take a moment just to find a comfortable position, so you are basically propping your rib cage a little bit higher. Once you're here, you can allow your arms to relax wherever it's comfortable, perhaps choosing to straighten the legs here. So as you prop yourself up, just enjoy the openness across the chest. That sense of ease and light in your breath and in your heart. So stay in this position. I'm going to come up to sitting, but I'll allow you to stay resting on the block for a few more minutes. So that shape will help to open up across the collarbones. So any tension you have from breastfeeding or holding your baby starts to open up. So enjoy that shape as long as you like. Allowing the body simply just to ease in, finding that lightness once again. Allow the belly to relax, the face, and the breath is easy. So when you're ready, you can slowly, from your lying down position, press your elbows into the floor to lift the chest. And slowly let go of the block underneath you. And very, very gently ease the spine back down to the floor. allowing your arms to rest either on your body or out to the side. So having a moment of just allowing the spine to come into its natural position. You can stay here for as long as you like until your back comes into a normal position. And when you're ready, you can roll to the side and then press yourself all the way up. So enjoy this space of being able to let go, to ease into a pose and to breathe. Thank you.